This is Unmasked.
As far back as you're willing to go, I feel like people's journeys kind of are the stepping stones or the story of who you are as a person. And I want people to kind of be able to connect with you a little bit better.
Sweaty. I know it's hot.
I know.
We're in Arizona.
It's Phoenix. It's going to happen.
I know. It's January and I'm like ready to go.
I know. It's
lay out real quick.
January and it's already over 70 degrees. If you're ever thinking about moving to Arizona, just be aware there's no such thing as a cold day in Phoenix, at least.
It's chilly.
Yeah. So as far back as you're willing to go ahead and just any major life events or anything in the timeline that you think shaped you most into the woman you are today, just go ahead and let us know.
Yeah. That's a lot because I feel like that's my entire life.
A little bit closer.
Most recently, it was, I don't even know how to answer that because like it's every single second of my day is like turning me into the person I am today. You know, it's so hard to like pinpoint all these things unless you really want to go into a 2.5 hour long story of my life. And I don't think you really wanted to go there, but I will just say like last year I went through an extremely hard time, mentally, emotionally, even physically. Like I went through a really, really hard breakup. I don't even know if you want to go there, but we're going to go there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was also struggling really hard with my business and trying to figure out exactly like what I want to do with move going forward. As well, I was in the process of moving in with that said relationship halfway across the country. And it was just one thing after another, and I was just fell into like this major depressed state and just trying to figure out why. And I have always struggled with anxiety and depression. So I knew it's been an ongoing battle trying to like figure out why and like my triggers and understanding that like me as a person, I'm so like hyper focused on trying to predict my own future. Trying to predict my own future and then just holding on to so much regret of the past. So much regret of the past. And that anxiety and that depression has been a struggle since I was about like 12 or 13 years old.
Really?
Yes. Or at least as long as I can remember. Or at least I can identify it at that time. Because I'm 31 years old. This was almost 20 years ago. And we didn't talk about mental health. We didn't talk about anxiety wasn't in a vocabulary. Depression was finally starting to come out. Like, and if you were depressed and you're just a weak person and you need to just go figure it out for yourself. Therapy, you're crazy if you go to therapy. That's the whole like stigma of back then. And so I didn't really have any help or guidance or anything to just like help me through that time. So it's been a long 16, 17 year journey to finally understand exactly what's going on, how to overcome any struggle that I am going through day to day. But last year was the absolute breaking point of it. I was just so, I didn't even know what left to right was at the point. I was so mentally like unwell because I was going through a breakup. I gave up my month-to-month lease in order to move out to that area, and in 30 days I had to figure out where I was living because I didn't have a place to live. So I have to heal from this breakup. I already am really depressed or just got so much going on with my business from I will just say, I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but couple months prior, I made a judgment call in my business and it was the wrong call. I lost a lot of money for myself and my clients and things like that. And it's just, I took it to heart because then it was just like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, why would I make that call? Like, I knew better, just all this stuff. But I was like trying to like get over that, as well as the relationship I was in was extremely toxic, and I did not understand how manipulated I was with that relationship. It was like, I'm so beyond blessed to not be in it any longer now that I see what I was, but it was just it was all, honestly, it was all a lie, the whole relationship, of like him saying that he loves me and everything. And so yeah, it was just, I don't even know if you want to go into that, but it's
yeah,
just,
I mean, that's your story, that's your journey. I know that especially when it comes to like romantic relationships, those also, that's some of the people that we spend the most time with. And
yeah.
so that definitely helps shape us and our story and stuff. So if that's something that you feel did kind of help shape that, then absolutely.
Well, okay, we'll just go through the whole story as quick as I can. So I met this gentleman at a friend's wedding, and honestly, it was just weird. Like, it was kind of like a slow burn. We were both in the wedding party together, and then we just hung out the rest of the evening, talked about just life in general, and then it was just like, I don't even know how to explain it. Just everything just fit so well. It was almost like a too good to be true story. I did this journal thing. It's called Calling in the One: How to Attract the Love of Your Life in 90 Days. The title, I think, needs a new title, but basically it is an amazing, I guess, journal, you could say. Every day you have to go through like a lesson plan or like a reading, and then it makes you do just an activity, I guess you could say, homework. Let's call it homework.
Okay.
From like meditation to journaling about your past and like other things that are like triggering, or people that have hurt you and harmed you, and then almost like healing from that, and then it'll take you through like your present, and it will kind of just do little things, same thing, activities, and just kind of, and then also like make you call out like your future. So it kind of gives you like this huge healing journey of like, who do you want to become in order to find your person, I guess. It makes you heal from your past, stay in the present moment, and then just not really predict or anything, but it's just, okay, moving forward, you need to be this person.
Gotcha.
And it was really, really cool. But anyway, I'm going off so much topic, but so
there is no specific topic here, so you're good.
Okay, so I met this gentleman, whatever it is. We really went in for it, hot and heavy, said all the right things to me. And it was just, everything was kind of just aligning. It was super weird. So in that journal, I wrote little attributes or characteristics of what I want my future person to have. So someone like very godly, into health and fitness, loves to travel, very hardworking, wants to provide for his family, things like that. And every single thing I listed was him. Which was like,
Okay.
Also, I called my shot as well. I wrote in there, I will be in a loving, committed relationship to someone who I love and admire, and I'd introduce him to my family by Christmas. Super weird. This is not planned. I swear to you, it was not freaking planned. Because I'm in Arizona, my family's in St. Louis. He's from he lives in Kansas City at the time. He's originally from St. Louis as well. I got into town on the 22nd of December. He wasn't able to make Christmas until the day of the 25th because of his work schedule. The only time he would be able to see my family, meet my parents, would be Christmas Day, because the next day my parents were to drive to Florida for the next 3 months. So weird, really weird, because I wrote that in the journal February of that year. So literally, what was it?
Like 10 months.
10 months before.
Yeah.
I wrote all this stuff before even meeting him because I met him in November. Super crazy. Also, this is going to blow your mind. I have my brother's best friend, who I called my brother because he treated me a little bit better than my actual brother did in high school. He passed away the day I was moving into college. So It was very kind of traumatic experience, but I always called him my guardian angel. He was just always super protective of me and just, was a wonderful, amazing guy. And he was also in the Navy. I was telling the story of how he passed away. It was just, kind of just very drastic. And then I also was explaining why I have the tattoo, which says never give up. He has a cross with a script on the back of his shoulder that says never give up. That's for the women in his family who all survived breast cancer. And then I did it for him, them, and myself, just with like suicide awareness and stuff. And I told him, and I had this little picture of him. I flipped it around and he started crying. And I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? What am I missing? It's like, that was my best friend in the Navy together. And he lifts up his sleeves and has the last tattoo my air quote brother drew, and he was going to get for himself. He got tattooed on his shoulder. So
it kind of seems like things are lining up almost too much.
It's just like, yes.
Okay.
It's like one of those, like literally like I'm living a movie.
Yeah.
I found my dream guy.
It's like a Hallmark movie.
Yeah. We like everything's in common, like the way we want to raise our family, religion views, political views, even like what we want to do as career. Like we were kind of in the similar field of like real estate and just home doing, whatever. So it was just like, this is crazy. Well, it wasn't very long, about like 6 months later, it was like a switch just flicked off. And that love was kind of just fading, and he just became very, I don't even know what the term is, but the things he would say, he would go back on. And then I'd question it, like, but you said this. And he's like, no, I didn't. And
so
it just
kind of
started
gaslighting you.
100% gaslighting.
Yeah.
Anytime I would tell him, because I've always struggled with relationships, and I was very open and upfront. I was not in a relationship for almost 6 years before I dated him. So I was single for a very long time. Was that on purpose,
or was that?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, being single was kind of to heal my own self, be more independent, figure my own stuff. I was focused on my career, my businesses, and I just wanted to do my own thing a little bit. Yeah, I dated people, but nothing ever came out of those relationships of like, oh, I could see this as my person, or we just didn't date long enough to like see if we could work out.
Gotcha.
So it's not like I completely crossed myself off and whatever. It just didn't work out. They weren't the right guys. Neither was this one. But anyway, it was just like, I would tell him like, hey, like, like right now I'm just feeling very unloved and like unwanted. Can you just tell me everything's okay and that you love me? It's like, well, I can't always be there for you like that. So you're just gonna have to figure out when you're like that. It's like, okay, that's great, but right now, can you just tell me you love me and everything's gonna be okay? And he would just keep repeating it. Well, I can't be there for you like that. It's like, okay, right now, and then whatever. So anytime we had like an argument, or I'm like trying to express how I feel, is very dismissive. I was attacking his character. I was in the wrong. After the end of every fight, argument, or whatever, I was the one apologizing for how I felt, for what he did to make me feel the way I felt. And my feelings weren't real. They weren't true. And he made it super religious, as in like, yeah, I get it. Like someone can make you feel whatever way they feel, but like you can define your own like feelings. Like you don't have to deal with that person to make you feel that way. But when a narcissist uses it like that, doesn't care about anyone but himself.
Yeah. No, I hate that.
Yeah, like it doesn't, the way he's using it is not how it's supposed to be intended. So my feelings were just made very invalid, and anytime I expressed it, it just got worse and worse. So I was just starting to question the entire relationship. So I was falling into like all this anxiety of like the future, like what's the future going to look like? Am I even going to have a say in a relationship? Anytime I did have a say in like anything, like even talking about plant-based, because I do enjoy like a plant-based, like balanced lifestyle, he would shut it down and be like, no, that's not right, and like all this stuff. And I'm just like I can't have an opinion anymore. And it just got worse, and I just fell into more of a depression. And he's like, I can't even make you happy anymore. I'm like, it was just a whole thing. And then the last straw, we ended up just done breaking up. Kind of strung me along a little bit, like, oh well, like let's just take a break, we'll see what happens. Okay, great, we will see what happens. So again, I'm apologizing, I'm so sorry, I hurt you from what I said, like, and we're not going into any of that. But a week later, it was like, don't talk to me ever again, I'm shipping all your stuff out to wherever you are, give me your address.
This is him saying this?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't talk to me ever again. Like, don't call me, don't text me, anything. And that was going from, oh, we'll see what happens, like, let's just give it a little break, to like, don't talk to me anymore. And I was just like, what? It's like, okay, fine. Didn't. And a month later, I saw that he was in a relationship.
Oh shit.
3 months later, he was engaged. And then I think 6 months later, the engagement ended.
Oh.
So yeah, So I'm like, wow, dodged a bullet, man. I dodged a mother freaking bullet. But anyway, I know I kind of like threw that out there really quick. But for me, it was just like, this person said that he loved me.
Yeah.
But because my depression, my anxiety, what I was going through, because of him, for belittling me and making me feel invalid and all that stuff, I had to heal from.
Yeah.
I had to figure out where I was going to live, if I was moving, and then still business stuff. So all of that, like, I went to 3 different therapists in a week. I could not function, could not eat. I was also like, I basically felt like I had COVID on top of that. And that was because I was so emotionally like drained. My body shut down on itself. It was one of the hardest moments of my life. Like, I don't know how I got through it. Actually, I do. The only way I got through it was because of God.
Yeah.
I remember just literally crying on my knees, like looking up. It's like, I can't do this. Like, help me. Like, this is the last straw. Like, I'm getting emotional because I can just like feel those feelings again.
I need to start bringing tissues onto this thing, because you're not the only one. Trust me, I've had other people, especially when they bring up stuff in their past. It can be an emotional thing, and especially when it comes to love. Like, that's one of the reasons why I am a huge proponent of letting people talk about that, because I know the effect it has. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life too, but relationships that I've been in have depicted what I do in that. Like, it'll depict of where I move possibly, or how hard I'm going, if I need to give more energy to her, or if I need to give more energy to this. And if I am doing this, like, that will depict on even the partner that I'm with, because if I'm not picking somebody that's okay with me being an entrepreneur, and like, yeah, there's cool stuff that you get to enjoy, like the fact that I choose my own schedule, cool, or the fact that I choose I'm kind of more in charge of my own pay, awesome. But when you're with an entrepreneur, you also have to deal with the other side of the fact of, like, there is no 9 to 5 type of thing. There is no set schedule to where it's like, okay, you work from 9 to 5, and then all other hours of the day, you're mine. And in those kind of instances, I'm like, for these 3 days, I cannot be bothered for like 20 hours of the day, because I have to be working hard. After this, I'm free for a couple days.
Yeah.
And so it's a sporadic schedule. So it really does.
It's trying to find that work-life balance.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I get it 100%. Yeah, just because I do short-term rental, Airbnb, it's guests message me all the time.
Right.
So I get it. Like, he has gone on me as well. Like, why are you on your phone? It's like, I have to. I'm answering this message. What do you want me to do?
I know. That's the hardest one.
I
Like,
get it.
Like when you're sitting there, you're on your phone and stuff. They're scrolling through TikTok or Instagram or something.
I'm working.
And
I'm paying the bills, man.
You're over here answering emails and stuff. Like, why are you always on your phone? I'm like, well, you're on your phone for a different reason. I'm on my phone because I have to answer all these different people, or I have to take this call, or it's like, I never feel like I'm a priority. I feel like you're always trying to talk to these other people. I'm like, well, I have to. I have this coming up, so I have to talk to this person. I'd step out to Saturday, and like, I had issues with like planning and stuff all the time. So I get it fully. But
yeah,
I know with those kinds of relationships, I've had to deal with like a lot of those like narcissistic relationships, and a lot of those people that kind of gaslight you into your own type of emotions and stuff. And some of the biggest things that I've come to realize, which I hate that he uses against you, because it's something that I'm even in the middle of learning, but it's like the serenity prayer, with being able to control what you can, but letting go what you can't control.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that I've learned in all of that is the fact of one of the biggest things you can control is your own emotion. You can't control how other people are going to treat you. You can't control how they're going to feel. You can't control other people. You can control yourself.
Yeah.
But when you use that as a weapon, it's like, well, it doesn't matter. You can control this. You can control that. It's like, well, you're also a human being, so you have to give yourself some slack. That's not to say that you can't feel emotion. That's not to say that you have to eliminate all emotion. It's to say that process your emotion, learn how to process it in a healthy way, but don't act on the emotion itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's the fact that like he tries to use something that's supposed to be such a healthy tool against you and that kind of thing. That's the thing that I'm like, that's not what it's supposed to mean.
It's lack of communication.
And then even like the happiness thing. Yeah.
Lack of empathy. Like, dude, like us girls we are sensitive. We love love. Like, just give us a hug. Tell us everything's gonna be okay.
Well, and then like
sympathy.
The difference in like there are biological and scientific backed research on the fact that like men's brains and women's brains operate in different ways.
Yeah.
Women are emotional creatures. They're more emotional creatures, at least than men. They have different biologies and stuff that happen in their brain that make them more of like dating back to our ancestors. They're known to be the nurturers. They're known to be like the ones that are the housemakers. Like just dating back to like these old days.
Yeah. No,
men are the hunter-gatherers, the ones that go and bring home the bacon, the ones that do this. Like, if you scratch your elbow and you need a hug, who do you go to? You go to mom. You don't go to dad. But if you need this fixed, if you need all this, you go to dad typically. And this is all a typical thing, obviously. Things are changing everything and stuff. But, I mean, it is you. But you have to realize that, like, when your partner, and I even struggle with this too, with the whole like, just tell me right now that you love me. I'm having these type of things, and it's like, don't worry about the future if I'm going to be able to cope with it myself in the future. Right now, you're my partner.
I'm just having intrusive thoughts. I'm overthinking. Yeah,
and I've had to do that because I struggle with anxiety, depression as well, and a lot of that comes from the insecurities of past relationships for me, with the fact of everything will be totally okay, and then at a blink of an eye, everything's like, we're going to break up. I'm sorry, it's not working out. I'm like, whoa. We were fine up until today. What happened?
Yes. And honestly, like this whole journey, all of that, like dating this summer, and honestly, okay, well, gotta back up, but everything from like me, like just praying to God and everything, it was just like a huge, the entire rest of like, but literally from the spring through the summer, just felt like I had guidance. Like, literally Jesus was holding my back, my shoulders, and guiding me through all these, like, just everything from certain people I needed to meet to things I needed to do in order to get to the place where I got to, where I needed to go and heal. Like, I had a friend who randomly was like, I mean, she knew I was struggling. She was like, I'm going to send you a book. I'm going to buy a book. I'm going to send you an Amazon book. What's your address? I gave it to her. And it was the most perfect book I needed. She's never sent me anything before. We don't do gifts ever. Like, why did she give me that? Like, it's not a coincidence. I needed that. I needed all of that within the book. And I think it's called Get Out of Your Head, by Jeannie something.
I feel like I've
It's
heard of
amazing.
that.
It's one of those books you need to read every single year, especially if you struggle with mental health issues.
Yeah.
100%. And that book was a huge awakening journey.
Not sponsored, by the way.
No. Well, we can always add a little affiliate link. But yeah, so it was just like things like that. And Joe Dispenza got really into like his meditations and healing journeys as well. And it's absolutely crazy. The friendships I made from that, and just the entire summer I took to heal. I really hardly worked at all.
The friends that you made from the meditation stuff?
Just running into like a wellness center that I would do like ice baths in.
Okay.
And then we do like sound waves, whatever, and like sauna, infrared sauna. So it was like a whole like experience thing, which was super cool. I've learned about how important, basically ice bath, cold water therapy, how much that does for your mental health.
Yeah.
Like,
I've been like on a huge tangent, like anytime I talk to someone about it, because
I love it.
I try to do hot and cold therapy. So I try to do the ice bath and then sauna after working out and stuff.
Yeah,
like
you gotta end on the cold though. That's the thing.
After working out?
Anything. You always need to end on the cold. There's something about it that says when you finish the cold, it just, I don't know.
So the reason why, like, I'll end on like a sauna, especially after working out, is when you do cold therapy right after working out, it restricts the proteins that are supposed to help build your muscles and stuff. That makes sense. That's why, like, when athletes are doing ice baths after it, it's because they're trying to reduce the swelling in their muscles and trying to reduce, and it constricts the blood vessels going into your muscles.
Like, you go.
So that's why
jacuzzi.
They say, like, if you're trying to build muscle, you're doing all that, don't do it right after workout. Wait 30 minutes, an hour, maybe a couple hours after the workout. That way.
So you don't do like ice bath and then the sauna right away, right?
No. So
that's what I'm saying.
The way that I would do it would be ice bath, workout, and then sauna after that.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
That's different. Because that's like a whole, I'm talking about literally like 3 minutes cold, 3 minutes hot, 3 minutes cold, 3 minutes
jumping
hot,
back and
3
forth.
minutes cold. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. No, like, yeah, as long as you, 100%. First thing you should do every morning is just get cold shower, ice bath.
Is that what you do?
Yes, I try. I try.
I try to.
It's like, I don't want to.
It is such a mental battle, though, when you're doing that.
But that's the whole point.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole point, because people with anxiety and depression and like whatever they're going through, their battle is normal day-to-day stuff. Yeah. Like, I am literally in fight and flight mode almost all the time because my brain's constantly like analyzing all these things, or I'm trying to predict the future, or trying to like, okay, well, if this happens, then I need to fix it like this way. Yeah. Like, that's not, no. Or if someone didn't say the right thing, or like do the right thing, or like drive, whatever, just all these little things, just I'm overthinking, I'm adding up, my body's overworked in fight or flight mode. And that's day-to-day stuff. So you do the cold stuff. That's the real fight or flight mode right there. Your body is getting acclimated to like, this is what we're fighting for, is to get through this. Your brain, you're telling it, I'm gonna get to 3 minutes. I'm gonna get to 5 minutes. Like, I can do this. Push, push, push. I got it. So you're giving yourself affirmation. The cold is like, you've probably talked about it before. You can just, here's another video of him talking about it. We're not going into details, but yeah, it's amazing. Like, it just does all the things for you.
Have you heard the Andrew Huberman podcast?
Yeah, that's,
so he goes into a lot of the scientific stuff with it.
Yeah.
So
the brown fat for me, and all that.
I know that, like, it's all these trends and fads and stuff with like, oh my God, I'm an entrepreneur. I start with the cold plunge and I work out and I do saunas. For me, I don't pay attention to those. I do it based off of the research that's been done and the fact that it helps regulate cortisol, which is the stress hormone in your body.
whack that on my face. Yes, that's what I'm trying to get at.
But because like I'm not a doctor or a medical professional or anything like that,
exactly.
but I do trust the information that someone like Andrew Huberman says, and it's been told by multiple health professionals the fact that like on a 24-hour cycle, your body automatically releases cortisol. You can't stop that. It's not something you can like body stop producing cortisol. It's gonna happen. But taking those ice baths, one helps regulate a little bit more the release of cortisol because it's immediately doing that right in the beginning of the day and stuff. But it's also, there was an episode that was released recently about physical willpower and how to increase willpower. And there's apparently a part of your brain that can physically increase in size based off of how much you exercise this willpower. So if you do something, and he was saying like if you enjoy ice baths, don't do them because you're not like if you're enjoying ice baths and you're doing it specifically for the willpower thing,
I like it.
Then
that's
it's not going to be good.
Another little thing to remember. It's like I don't like this because I don't.
Well, it's
don't. Who? Yeah.
Exactly.
Who wants to?
But for those who like hate it, it helps increase that. And this isn't supposed to be like one of those like health podcasts, but that's been one of the things like even in my life.
But it is health, mental. I mean, health is wealth. Health is everything. If you're taking care of yourself, you're taking care of your mental health. You're taking care of your physical health. Like all of that, like it all adds up. And that's the thing too. It's like, I mean, depending on what I eat, that triggers my anxiety.
Oh my gosh, no.
Like coffee?
I started a new job like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and just based off of the schedule and stuff, my eating plummeted so much. I was eating out so much more because I just didn't have time. I was having less energy. All this, I know it's like not having time or whatever, but like I just didn't have the energy to go home and like cook a meal or whatever. So I'm like, you know what? Whataburger's right there, or I don't know. McDonald's is right there. It's that's the whole point of fast food. It's convenient right there. But I noticed that everything else in my life was following it in that way of like my sleep is getting messed up now. My energy levels are getting messed up. My mental health's getting I'm like I haven't like I've been good about regulating my panic attacks a lot lately. I haven't like I've been able to cope with them. And like I've had random days where they spike, and I'm like, why am I having a panic attack right now? There's no reason I should be doing this. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I will. So that book I mentioned. Yeah. So one of the things that it says whenever you're in that experiencing, write down your feeling. Like, what do you feel? Like, I feel overwhelmed. Okay, and then you're gonna spider out on bullets. Okay, like what small things are like contributing to that? Right. I have to do laundry. I need to go get my car checked. I need to go read this book. I have homework to do. I have to go pick up my dog and do whatever. I have to call my parents back, or I have to pay this bill. I have to pay that bill. I have to do this, that, X, Y, and Z. And then you're like, I am overwhelmed because look at all the freaking stuff I have to do. Yeah. Like, I get it. Or like, even feelings too. Like, I just feel unloved. Like, I don't feel like,
I do that in my journal.
Like just whatever. Yeah. Or I don't have a relationship right now. Like I want to be in one, and I'm like sad. It's making me sad, and then all these other things. It's a lot. So I feel this way, or I'm like I'm not as far as I am in my career. And then so when you have this huge thing, you pick the ones that you can do right now, and then you pick the ones you can do like this week, or like let's focus on that. Let's get like accomplish that. So it's just. Okay. Kind of like making you realize like, hey, you're okay. You got a lot going on, but it's just little things. Let's just soak it back in instead of thinking it's got this big thing. Let's just pick some little ones first.
Have you always been into like this health stuff or mental health stuff?
Yes, I have to.
It's always been a thing. So there wasn't like a moment in your life that you were like, I need to make a change.
Well. It's the whole like journey. Like, so when I was about, I wasn't driving at the time. So I guess I was like 15. Okay. I was riding in the car with my mom. And it's the first time I told her that I wanted to kill myself. Because I was just so like, just hated life. I had a great life growing up. When I say I had a great life, I mean, I was always wasn't like sunshine and rainbows. Like, obviously there was just like hard times and stuff, but my parents were always there, still together to this day. Yeah, they fought. We saw fighting, you know, like they
Normal
were
stuff.
hard, you know, they were hard on us, me
Yeah.
and my brother during school and like all this things. And it's just like, why do I have such a great life? But like, I am literally sad all the time. Like, why? Why am I sad? Like, I should be happy. And that's what my mom tells me all the time. You have such a great life. You should be happy. Like, why are you so sad? Like, it's okay. Just like, whatever. But anyways, from like that moment of like finally like whatever announcing it or like telling her, and that when we were driving, she slapped me in the face and told me never to think about it again. Years later, I questioned her. Actually, like a couple years from today, I questioned her. She doesn't even remember any of it, which is fine. Like, my mom's amazing. I love her. And in that moment, like, again, you have your 15-year-old little girl that you absolutely love is like telling you like she wants to die. Like, yeah, it's not the perfect reaction, but how do you even react to that? Especially not understanding any mental health or anything like that. So
I couldn't even imagine like being in that position to where my child comes to me and starts saying that. Like, obviously I have a little bit more experience with dealing with that just based off of how I've kind of not trained myself, but the exposure to different mental health stuff.
Yeah.
And so I have a little bit more training, but especially like trying to put myself in like your mother's shoes, and that's where, like you said, there is no support for mental health. There's like,
there
is no type of things like that out there. There's no awareness
Not
for
then.
depression, for anxiety,
I mean, she helps me. It's so cute. Like, now today she like sends me all like little videos. Almost every single morning she'll send me a nice little quote of like motivational day. Here's your quote of the day. Just like, it's so sweet. Like, she gets it now and she wishes she was like, she could have done differently and like all this stuff. And so it's just, yeah. So I'm glad like I never took, you know, it's so like easy for me to like use that and just hate her and never want to see her, talk to her ever again for be like not doing something about it. But that was like a huge thing for me because she told me never to think about that ever again. So my entire high school and college years were spent never talking about my mental health, feeling like I'm suicidal all the time because life is just way too hard. I can't deal. Like, things would happen, or I'm so hard on myself, and I feel like if I let someone else down, or if someone didn't like me, which I know is kind of juvenile, but like in the world, that's a huge thing. Or just like, if I failed, if I messed up, if like it just felt like unwanted by people, and even with the relationships, like it had so much weight on me, like my heart, like I couldn't breathe. I couldn't take it, and like the constant pain of just like feeling like that. I can't even explain it to some people who don't understand mental health, but it was just like, this pain is never going away. Like, the only way for me to make this pain to go away is just to end my life, because it's just like, I can't. What is like, it's just constantly, I don't know how to like break free from this. It's ongoing and ongoing and ongoing. When is it just going to stop? When am I finally just going to be happy and live?
Right.
So after college, I went through another relationship, and that breakup, which was like a huge setback. And that's when I started becoming more vocal about my mental health, because I know that was a huge thing that kind of affected it. And honestly, it affected all my relationships. I just didn't see it. I didn't understand it. You know, my friendships, my romantic relationships, my relationships with teachers or coaches or anything,
Right.
like it all got affected. They're like, oh, she's okay, she just wears her heart on her sleeve. Like, no, I had something, I was literally crying for help, and nobody could hear or see. Like, I needed help.
And that was the kind of big thing that I wanted to preface on you saying that, because when your mother did that, it didn't make you stop thinking about it. It just made you stop
talking about
vocalizing
it. Yeah.
You
one
don't
knew.
get rid of the
No
thoughts
one
of
knew.
it. You just stop telling people so they think you might have
Yeah.
forgotten, or think that like, oh, okay, cool. Like, just telling them to stop thinking about that worked. No, it still
Yeah,
happens.
I felt like I was crazy if I talked about it.
Yeah. So that's one of the most powerful things too, because like when you stop vocalize, when you compress it and you keep it in, it just keeps bottling up and up and up, and that's when it starts affecting you physically. That's when it starts really like, instead of just becoming an intrusive thought,
Yep.
that's when it starts going from that intrusive thought to like, now I physically feel sick. Now I
Yeah.
physically feel like this, like that, and that's when like the physical symptoms of depression and anxiety can start to really surface.
Yeah, 100%. So it's been a long journey of trying to just understand it and heal from it, because maybe mental health is not like something you can actually heal from. You can pop a pill and everything, and it can take, like it can code it.
Yeah.
But you have to do action steps. You have to reprogram your brain, basically, because it's mental health. It is all mental. If you really think about it, you can change the way you see life. You have to do things every single freaking day to get out of that headspace of whatever you're going through. And you're going to have setbacks.
Right.
But you can't tear yourself down and be disappointed like, oh, well, here I go again. And honestly, I'm preaching to the choir because I do this all the time too. And I'm like, gosh, here we go again.
Right.
Like, why am I freaking crying over this right now? But yeah, it's just like I have such an amazing morning routine now. And honestly, an outlook of life. The number one thing that I've learned was to trust the Lord. Literally, the timing of my life is perfect. Might not be my perfect or my timing, but He has a bigger plan for me.
Yeah.
And I've always thought that. That's the only thing that has kept me holding on. Only thing that has kept me holding on.
You mentioned morning
That and my
routines.
family.
I'm a huge I love learning other people's morning routines because it helps me build a little bit more of mine. What does your morning routine look like?
So we already talked about cold showers.
Yeah.
So I'll try to do that as much as I can. I really do want to get like a little cold tub just to like submerge myself, because cold showers they're not the same. They aren't.
No, they don't do the same.
No, I feel like they're harder, to be honest, because you have to go front and you have to go back.
Yeah. Gotta rotate like a
yes.
rotisserie chicken.
So then exercising, moving my body every single morning, regardless if it's just a walk outside with my dog or going to the gym, doing something just to like get you up, get your heart rate going, like, and then you're also accomplishing something very big that is very important, hopefully to you, because our health is really important. I journal, as in I'll state things that I'm grateful for.
Okay.
I'll try to say like, okay, what's something positive I can do today, and then affirmations as well, and then meditation, just breathing, really important. Kind of calming my brain, kind of shutting off like those intrusive thoughts, the negative thoughts, and kind of just putting positive energy into me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What else do I do? Oh, and then I just try to read a motivational book as well. Just get like a couple pages in. And then
what time are you waking up typically?
It just depends. What's great about being an entrepreneur, I get to make my own schedule. So if I really wanted to wake up at 8 o'clock, I could wake up at 8 o'clock. I try to wake up around 6, no later than 6.
Okay.
But the winter just seems to be so hard.
This year especially, for some reason, at least for me, was the most difficult for waking up early.
If the sun's up, I'm up.
Really?
If the sun's up, I'm up.
So you're full time in your business stuff now, right?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Basically,
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been full time. It's still have like a part-time job, which is just, waitressing, serving tables.
Yeah.
And that's just right now. It's just additional little income until I can, just completely focus on real estate, which this house that I just bought, is hopefully going to do that for me and get me to just financial freedom.
So I know that we're already 45 minutes into this.
Dang!
We haven't even talked about what you do exactly. So I know that you are you do Airbnbs.
Yes, I own and manage Airbnbs.
You own and manage Airbnbs. So that's obviously, even that alone, that's not a career that happened until Airbnb was a thing. So for you, what was it about real estate? Because you said it was 2014 that you wanted to get into doing real estate.
Yeah.
Right? What was it about it that you wanted to do that? Like when you were younger,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you had like a dream career type of thing.
100. Yes, exactly. So both my parents were entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Watching them take on that, seeing the freedom, because my mom was always around.
Gotcha.
And that's what I wanted to be for my future kids. She was always like our homeroom, always going on field trips, just always being there, as well as both my parents were able to take vacations and take us places. And I just thought that was the coolest thing, that like we got to experience and explore so much with them.
Right.
And that other people didn't. And I wanted to raise my kids like that. And so I'm just thinking like, okay, well, how do I get there? Like, yeah, I could own my own business and do all this, but what do I want to do? Like, what is going to make me happy? And it took me a while to understand this, but to be honest, I really didn't want to work at all. Like, I didn't want to do a 9 to 5, and I didn't want to put too much work into it, but I loved everything about real estate. I love houses. Like, Fixer Upper. Oh, wow. Demo day. Hashtag that was not planned. Fixer Upper, and just like seeing them, like their relationship and their partnership of that. I was like, that's kind of like what I want. I love, remodeling homes. I love designing homes. I love just every little thing, even like hashtag demo day. Just getting my hands dirty, always learning something new, new skill, like being creative.
Okay.
I love that stuff so much. And again, I wanted to go back to the financial freedom. I understood how important it is to, have properties. What is it? What is it? 90%, or what is the quote? 97% of all millionaires are investing in real estate.
I didn't know that.
Terrible. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's quote. 90% of all I swear it's that.
I mean, it makes sense. It's one of
invest in real estate. Because it's just, we are not building more land. You can't build land. We can build property on land.
Yeah.
But once all that land's bought up, it's going to be, we're not going too far into it. But anyway, so I really wanted to like have this really cool, unique, fun destination boutique properties. Airbnb was just getting started back in like 2014. Not really just getting started, but it was starting to get popular. It was. And I always had this really cool idea. It was like, what really sparked it, I love Disney World, and I would go there for cheerleading competitions like almost every single year. And I was like going, and we would stay at the resorts. I'm like, this is so freaking cool. Like, how cool would it be, like, if you could stay at a house that's kind of giving me this vibe, So these, hidden Mickeys all over. The room's really, like, cool and unique and designed and, like, super fun. And I was like, that would be amazing. And what if I could do it, get some places out in, like, I don't know, Colorado and like down in Texas or Nashville and like all these things. And we're just going to call them the dream houses. And so it's going to be like the Disney dream house. And out here in Scottsdale, I have the desert dream house and Austin dream house, or like, I don't need like mountainy dream. I don't know. I'll come up with the names when I have them. But yeah, so I was like, this is so cool. That's what I want to do. Okay. So like, how do I get there? Like, well, I got to have money, right? And so it's just been a long journey of trying to figure out like my career path, even though I knew what I wanted to do, but like, how do I get the money to get there? And years and years of just trying to figure out. I got my real estate license, did that for a little bit. Got so distracted on, I want to do this as well. This would make me money. Like, starting a clothing line would make me money. You
sound like me at this point, just trying to pick up 1,000,001 projects.
Yes, and that's the thing. That was the biggest setback. Like, if I just got a mentor who's doing something in the game, got a coach that was already in the game, instead of wasting so much time and energy in other things, like this was 10 years ago when I had that dream.
Right.
I'm finally just now getting my second property. I got so distracted on other things that honestly it was another trigger for me. Not focusing on my end goal of building this amazing short-term rental business or building residual income so I have that freedom, that time to do whatever I want to do, regardless if it's traveling and exploring the world or being more present with friends and family. Like, you know?
Yeah. I've been hearing a lot, like on social media or YouTube or something, that the short-term rental game, like Airbnb, it's kind of like dying in a way. It's not like Airbnb makes it to where it's not profitable anymore. Like there's certain people that will post like, oh, this year, like we made a total grand profit of $3,000 for this. And obviously that's not including the value of the house or anything like that. But
I mean, it's the same thing. Like you got to know your numbers first off. You got to make sure your property is going to cash flow regardless if it's a slow month or not. So yeah, you got to do your own due diligence and really find a good property that's going to work and also have something in the back. But Airbnb dying? No, there's just a lot of fish in the sea. Yeah. And I'm waiting for those fishes to get out. But honestly, I'm still doing extremely well because I have a target market and unique properties.
Tell me about that.
So, well, both my properties are out here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And Scottsdale is actually the #1 spot for bachelor and bachelorettes. We actually just beat out Nashville last year.
Oh, like in the country?
In the country.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, #1 spot for bachelor and bachelorettes. We beat out Nashville last year. And so my properties are targeted to women and hosting their bachelorettes with me. Okay. And let's be honest, even if the economy crashed, are we still having weddings?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Love doesn't die just because the economy does.
Right? And yeah, so it's like, yeah. And it has blown up still here with that. And yeah, like bookings, you have the competition. But you still got to keep on updating your property and like try to be the best property in the area. Like what's your competition doing? Can you replicate it? Can you add on more value? And that's what's different. Airbnb is not died. It has changed. Okay. The game has changed. Up level your property or just go straight to midterm or long-term rental.
So what do you do that makes it to where it's still a successful business for you?
Well,
other than just like keeping updated.
Basically that's what I said, just adding value. Gotcha. You know, just keep on like this can go anywhere in the US. I don't want to say that. You have to understand your market, where you're marketing, who are you marketing to. But also, like if you want to be successful in Airbnb, you also need to go to places that are constantly having travelers and people stay. It's a short-term rental. You know, like who's going to go over to Hays, Kansas and hang out? I mean, that's a college town. I don't know why I just named that, but it is a college town. So you do have that. Yeah. You know, for like parents to fly in or stay for a little bit, but still like, yeah. What are you going to do to up level, be the best out of your competition?
So if you were to take all the knowledge you have now and you were to travel back in time and talk to the Bre from 2014 that's getting this idea and getting into it, what would be like the top things that you would make sure to let her know to make sure that maybe she started off like on a bit like being the mentor to yourself that you didn't have at that point?
Gosh, I would probably have 100 properties right now if I knew what I know now back then.
What would you tell her though?
I would tell her everything. First off, everything's gonna be okay. Okay. Like, don't take life too seriously. Just enjoy the journey. Be present. Experience as much as you can, because you're not gonna get that second back. And also, what else was I going to tell her about real estate? Oh, well, you don't have to use your own money to get into real estate. First off, you can use other people's money and, give them an interest rate or partner with them. And then you also can have someone else find you properties too. And
Explain a little bit more on that.
Oh my gosh. What part? Which one? Other people's money?
Yeah. So using other, because I know that obviously there are investors out there that are just like, I have money and I need to have.
There's so many. You probably even think like your grandparents could be investors. Like there's anybody can be an investor, and until you have those conversations and a business model to prove that you can, but you also have to have a track record too. So the more you do business in that field, the more you're going to get referrals and, just like this plethora. And that's why the rich are rich and they're like, oh, well, they have money. No, they're using other people's money. They just don't want to tell you, or why would they? So you can use their other person, But yeah, so it's just partnering with people, and that's just going to get you further along in life.
How do you find those
your
people?
Career. Networking. You can literally probably just post it on Facebook of what you're doing as well. So the more you advertise what your business is, the more support you're going to get. But yeah, I've joined several networking groups, and that's where I find most of my private money lenders. And they already know what I'm doing. They're in that. So 100%, go network, go do meetups that are in your field. So I don't know if people are watching this talking about real estate, but yeah.
How do you approach them initially? Because I know that you said you have to have a track record. How does someone get that track record?
You got to start doing a deal. If you can't, then you need to partner with someone who knows what they're doing. So how I started was taking courses, mentorship courses. So I've learned from very successful people who have been in this business for many years. They taught me everything from ground up, how they got there, and then just all these little things in between of all real estate investing. And then, it's just that's a community that I basically bought into that for the community, because if you're in that little squad, let's call it, and you're actively becoming friends with these people, they feel comfortable working with you because you're in the same thing. You're doing the same thing,
Yeah. So say it's your first deal, or how did you do your first deal?
Well, my first deal was technically traditional because I didn't know what I knew now. I had 20% down. I had a family private money lender who helped with that 20% down, and then I just pay them monthly until it's all paid off.
What was the process of finding that private money lender?
It was doing research and why they should invest in me. Creating a little business plan. Hey, this is the property I have. I've had people send me their info, basically their projections, what they did that year and on, and their future bookings and stuff. And I took all the knowledge, and they're like, "We believe in you. You can do this." So I was very blessed and lucky at the time. But also I did the stuff. I did the work. This is, again, they knew this was what I wanted to do for a long time, and now I'm finally actually taking action. I've been taking action. I just kept on doing one step forward,
So this is your second property that you purchased here, right?
Yes.
So what's been because I know that you've been posting it on social media and stuff, turning it from a quote-unquote failed Airbnb.
Yes, it was a failed Airbnb. It was poor design and poor management.
Okay.
And so now I'm redesigning it into my target audience.
Yeah.
And it's gonna, I already have a booking.
What about it made it a failed Airbnb? Other like, I know you
Just
said
that.
failed management and stuff,
That's
but
exactly why.
was it just like they wouldn't communicate to customers, or
Y-
it just wasn't profitable for them?
I don't think the property manager cared, and
Gotcha.
like they weren't doing anything. They don't have a social media page that guests can like be invited. But yeah, it's only the design. The design is the biggest part. But yeah, like if you have bad reviews,
Yeah.
that looks bad. Like people don't want to book with you. You know.
What was it about this house that made you decide, I can do this. I can flip it around and I can make this a good place?
So the funny thing is that I actually put an offer on this property in 2021.
Oh, okay.
Yes. We were trying to negotiate. We were about like $5,000 off, and they weren't budging. It wasn't going to work for, like, I was basically at my top dollar, and I was like, screw you guys. No. Like, also the property that I have now reduced their listing price like $10,000. I'm like, done. I'm going there.
Yeah.
So bought that property instead. Someone else bought this about 6 months later finally, and they did a lot of good work to it. Needed a lot more work done. And so basically they did everything that I would have wanted to do to it. So I was like, okay, perfect. And I also bought it creatively. So I only had to put down, I think, like 6% technically.
Of like your own money?
Well, someone else's money. Yeah.
Okay.
So I only had to put 6% of someone else's money down. I didn't have to use my own credit. Yeah. So it's pretty wild, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if anybody is interested and wants to partner with me, I can go find more properties just like this one. Little to no money down, and yeah, build it that way.
Interesting.
Yep.
Because I know
my guy Pace Morby.
Pace Morby.
Yeah. Check him out. YouTube.
I'll definitely check him out.
He's the man. So he's his not networking group, his mentorship sub 2.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I'm a part of, and so that's where it's an amazing community. I actually got to hang out with him yesterday. He came over and we shot some videos and everything too. So there's a YouTube video going to come out about the property too.
Okay. So for somebody that just got done watching all those cool YouTube videos on real estate investing and Airbnb, and they decide to be like, you know what, I kind of want to get into that. Maybe they're, say, just out of high school or just out of college or something, still trying to figure things out. What are like the top 3 things that you would tell them before jumping the gun and getting into this profession?
You got to join a networking group for sure, like, or at least like the sub 2 group. I've joined several other courses and mentorships. This, hands down, the community here is just absolutely amazing. They're so supportive. And so having people that are wanting to help you and guide you, you can actually be on other people's teams and learn from them, and then finally be able to go out on your own. Which that is freaking insane, and you don't hear that often either. Usually it's dog eat dog. Oh, just watch the course, go figure it out yourself.
Right.
No, that's not what it's like. So just finding a mentor, even if it's someone locally, like you don't want to join like a group like sub 2 or a master course like that, go find someone locally and try to be best friends with them, see what they're doing, just like walk with them, ask like, hey, like I want to do what you're doing. How, like, can I follow you? Can I just watch what you do? I mean, I'm sure some of them are going to be like, no, but someone's going to probably say yes.
How would they find that?
See what you can bring them of value. How can you help them? Because you're asking them a lot to help you, but you got to bring them value too.
So what's like the first approach if you don't want to like go on Facebook or go whatever and join these networking groups and stuff? What is a good approach to finding a good mentor?
I don't know what else you can do. To be honest, yeah, you have to.
Would they just Google networking groups?
Yeah, real estate networking in your area.
Okay.
Literally Google that. I promise you, there's so many networking things going on, and just actually being plugged into what's going on around you, or where do you want to invest too, because Sometimes your area is not the best place to invest in either. So, but you can invest out of state, and that's the thing too. You don't have to step one foot inside your rental property.
Well, I know we didn't really get into the specifics about things like using other people's money or not using your credit.
This would be another 2.5 hour long podcast.
This first one was a little bit more of a get to know who you were and get your story. Since like you're the first person that I've talked to that's in this kind of niche, that's in the whole like real estate thing. And so this first one's a little bit more of like just who is Bre and who is this person, and kind of just learning the career that you're in. If anyone listening is curious about the details a little bit more on doing things like using other people's money or not using your credit, and they want how do I get started? Where do directions? Shoot me a message on any social media, preferably Instagram. It's just so much easier. I'm on there a lot more. We could probably just do like a part 2 as well of getting whatever questions you guys might have. I know that there are there are so many videos on YouTube now that have details on this and networking groups. But we can definitely probably do like a part 2 at some point of getting into the details about all of it. But
hopefully I can get a couple more by then.
Absolutely. How can people find you?
So my Instagram, all my social media is at @BriannaRuth_. Okay. And so you can, cool. Just add it into the comments or something, right? Notes. Add it into the notes.
Something like that. Works. So if you guys are curious or have questions for her, reach out to her, and she can answer a lot more of the stuff. I don't really know a whole lot about this kind of thing.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And it's ever changing.
And I feel like there is like a lot more research I have to do before I can even start asking a lot more questions. I've known you for a while now, and I know what you do, but because it's not my direct career, at least yet, it's something that I haven't done just all the research in. But I know that you are busy right now in the middle of doing all this renovation.
Yes,
I'm not sure if you guys can see
I have 2 days
all
to finish
this.
it.
But I definitely
all-nighters.
I appreciate you taking the time to kind of sit down and talk and get a little bit vulnerable and kind of share your journey and stuff with the audience.
I'm an open book.
Hopefully a lot of the audience can relate to you a little bit on some of the stuff. But is there anything else that you want to make sure that gets noted before we call that a wrap?
I don't know. Just, everything is working in your favor. Anything that's not for you won't be. Everything that is for you will be for you. So as long as you trust that everything's going to be okay and the timing of life is technically perfect, even though it's not what you want, you're going to be okay.
Cool. Well, thank you, Bre.
Yeah.